in Nigeria. In 2019, the Star Radio UK team traveled to Nigeria, to get to find out more about the event in Nigeria when it comes to the election. But this evening, it is all going to be taking us to US and okay, yeah, I think we're good now. In 2019, I remember traveling, to cover the election, and it was a fantastic trip. For the first time after leaving the country called Nigeria, to be able to travel back and witness the election. What was my take back? I did a lot of reporting from there, to the studio. I did my own report back as well as the correspondent to the Star Radio UK. And I remember the governorship election took me to Ogun State, and I was almost lynched, attacked. And the reason because many Nigerians are ready to die for their politicians, regardless of whether the politicians will end up, doing the right thing or doing the wrong thing. Many of them wants to die for the politicians. So I say good evening once again to those of you that have joined us. There is no sound. Okay, let's check why there is no sound on the sister broadcast. I believe there should be a sound. Okay, that should be on now. Do confirm the sound should be good now. For those of you that are listening to us on Star Radio UK, the sound should be back now. I believe so. Do let me know. Thank you so much, Mrs. Abosede Rachel. Jimmy, good evening to you. Iyola Adedoyin, sir. Good evening, sir. Kayo Dafolabi, good evening to you. Nuruddin Ajani Busari, good evening to you. And good evening to also Mass B, all the way in Benin Republic. Omitola Kede, very good evening to you. Can you confirm if the audio is good now? Yeah, the sound is good now. Thank you so much. And we say good evening to those of you on the Instagram. Good evening to those of you that have joined us as well on the Twitter space. A shout out to you, the Biafrans. Shout out to the Arewa. Shout out to all the 351 ethnic groups in Nigeria. We've been Bonjour, Mozua, Rodney, Natali. Good evening to those of you on the TikTok as well. I would like to appreciate every single one of you. Beautiful to my mom, beautiful to my wife, my children, and the rest of the media team that are working as well on behalf of the Star Radio UK network. Many Nigerians, like I said, will commit suicide for their politicians. Not just one, not two, not three. Many Nigerians will commit suicide. Well, this is how we prepare the program. I welcome you. Good evening, Bishop Additional. Happy birthday to every one of you. Alex Mamo, good evening to you. Let me start with my outfit again. I decided to put it on because, this is all by the very beautiful fashion designer of our time. And if you like something like these, you want to put it on, I would love to stand up, but probably maybe towards the end of the program. If you want to look cool, you want to have something beautiful like these in one of your collections. I know a lot of us have different ones. Why not check on Omita Culture? Omita Culture is a designer, fashion designer that can prepare a bespoke tailoring, ashwebi, when we call custom made, the one that will be different from others. Nobody can copy my own style. If you try it, I will change it. I don't want you to copy my style. This is the style of the Star Radio UK Niger Voices. Additional say it is really hot and very hot in Nigeria presently, but people are now grooming in silence. Grace Olushoto, good evening to you, my beautiful mother. Good evening to the GR1. Good evening, Alaji Bashiru. Good evening, Ijaya. My name is Olayolmi Koiki from Ijebu-Ode, Ogun State, southwest of Nigeria. Oh, hey, Biafra. Oh, hey, Biafra. Shout out to Professor Adebanji Akintoye that says, and I quote, the Yoruba nation struggle continue. Olapade Adeniyi, good evening to you, sir. Are you joining me for the very first time? I say good evening and welcome. And also to all our producer on the Star Radio UK network, I say good evening to you. Shout out to those of you that join me at the special broadcast in front of the Nigerian High Commission on Sunday. All our beautiful mothers that made it through. I would like to appreciate you on behalf of the Star Radio UK. Oladimeji, good evening to you. Thank you so much, Mrs. Comfort Ologunja. We cannot love you less, mother, for making it through from work. She was coming from work. I mean, after 12-hour shift. We appreciate all our doctors, our nurses that are working around the clock, around the world, and many of you in Nigeria. Prince Eze Iyinacho, I say a very good evening to you. He says, yes, because every Nigerian is confused. Good evening to you. Olu Olawale, Nigeria is a scam, while Tinubu is also a scam. Maybe I should first do this for Tinubu. We have a lot of well-educated Nigerians, but we end up having someone that have now, according to the information out in the public domain, submitted a fake, did I say fake? Forged certificate. How did we get to where we cannot produce leadership? The question I want to ask every one of you tonight is, some have even have to compare Tinubu to the former president Muhammadu Buhari. Did you see how far we have to get to? What a very big calamity. We have to compare Tinubu to Buhari. Bear with us, I think there's a clash or there's a breakthrough with the platforms on the sister broadcast. Hopefully we'll try and see if we can get that back. Yeah, it has actually crashed. Quite a lot of work on this system. The systems are working around the clock. I say good evening once again to those of you that have joined us so far. Bear with us. There's a lot of work and I hope we are still on. Since Saturday, there has been electric power outage in Alimosho local government area, Lagos State till now. So much wahala in Nigeria. Good evening once again to every one of you that have joined us so far. As we say, if we do nothing and say nothing, humanity will suffer. And that is the difference between us and the other mainstream media in Nigeria. Bear with us once again, those of you that are watching and listening to us. There's a bit of crap already in the transmission, but we're working very hard to bring it back up and running. Lot to be done with our system. But first and foremost, as I say again, the politicians' power in Nigeria, that individuals would die because of these same corrupt politicians. And the question is, are you one of them? Are you one of those that will commit suicide for politicians?
Broadcasting worldwide online 24/7. Broadcasting worldwide online 24/7.
Once again, a very good evening to those of you that have joined us so far. This is the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London.
Star Radio UK. This is Star Radio UK. This is Star Radio UK.
This is Star Radio UK. It is the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. This program comes up every Wednesday from 6 p.m. to 8:30, where we talk about almost everything that you need to know that will be different from the mainstream media. Many of you believe the mainstream media, and there's nothing wrong in that. But the question is, how did... I remember when Buhari was there, we were so confused that we have to ask whether it was the real Buhari or the fake one. How did we get to that stage? in a country like Nigeria, the most populous black nation, as we have been told so many times? How did we get to this kind of situation room that we can't even decide a better system? Let me go straight on a very short interlude, and then we will come back so that we can prepare the other sister broadcasts that have crashed.
Sunday kò ṣá ohun òbí bẹ́ẹ̀bà mi rí ẹ̀sán gbóhùn ẹ̀yìn ọmọdé ẹ̀mọ́dé yẹn ó kọjá kéré mi nìkan kì í fẹsẹ̀ àgbo ó ṣá láti rí ọ̀rẹ́ àgbo ó ṣá mẹ́tìlú fi torí ó ṣá mẹ́tìlú fi tìlù ó ṣá nínú àwọn òrìṣàdá ní Sunday èkó ó ṣá akọni ọmọ. He's a legend of our
For those of you that probably will not understand this powerful music, is for Chief Dr. Sunday, Dr. Sunday Ugbowo, and I'm sure a lot of you remember that he was almost assassinated right inside his house on the 1st of July 2021. Just like Nnamdi Kanu was kidnapped, we have Omoyele Sowore, we have individuals that probably doesn't have to forge their certificate, but wanted the best for Nigerians, the indigenous people. But the indigenous people said, no, we prefer to have those that can forge certificate, like the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, that have now decided that the best way to work as the president was to forge the result. The certificate. I'll be telling you everything in just about a few minutes, and let's go back again to the music.
Bó ṣe ń fi kan gún ọ lójú, ó fi kan gún ọ lẹ́nu, ọ̀kan tó kù ló fi ń gún ọ lọ́nà fún. Oníwẹ̀ ọmọ láti gún, oníwẹ̀ ọmọ adé ẹmọ òkun. Ẹgbẹ́ yìí lọmọ bí adé ọmọ kẹláwẹ̀. Ọmọ òkúta mẹ́ta ó lè ṣe lójúde ọba. Bẹ́ẹ̀ni ọ̀kọ́kọ́ mi lẹ̀sẹ̀ lálọ́, ọ̀kọ́ sì kọ́ mi lẹ̀sẹ̀ lábọ̀. Ẹ̀tẹ́ta nígbà tí mi ò mọ̀ náà mo wà lálàdé àdékùn. Mo ní mo mórí adé lọ́mọ lásẹ̀ bí. Orí adé ọmọ aládé ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ rẹ̀ bí. Ẹ̀yin lòrò olúwa fún yàn tó kún bọ̀ wá kó ìyá. Ọmọládé ìlàdé ládé.
If you do not understand the meaning of this music, I'm telling you, it's one of the most beautiful tracks. This is still the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. It is the 4th day of the month of August, the first one in the week of October rather. And I'd like to welcome each and every one of you once again.
7.
UK. This is Star Radio UK. In your car,
At work.
at home.
On your smartphone. Broadcasting worldwide online 24/7. Broadcasting worldwide online 24/7.
In your car,
At work.
at home.
On your smartphone.
Ọjọ́ tára fi ò dáadé àṣeyẹ gbọ̀ngàn. Ṣèbádé aládìkún làgbà wọn láàfin tí bàbá dé fi ń ṣọba. Ọmọdé ẹmọ ọmọ aládé nìjọ ọmọ ọba. Lẹ́bàá mi ni ẹ̀ṣàngóhùn ẹ̀rí. Sunday kò ṣá ohun òbí ni. Lẹ́bàá mi ni ẹ̀ṣàngóhùn ẹ̀rí. Ọmọdé ẹmọ tẹ̀rí ẹ ó kọjá kéré mi. Nǹkan kì í fẹsẹ̀ àgò ó ṣá láti rí ọ̀rẹ́ àgò ó ṣá tó fi torí.
Once again, it is still the finest African and Caribbean radio station. We're also in the month of the Black History Month. I say good evening once again.
UK. This is Star Radio UK. This is Star Radio UK.
At work.
At home.
On your smartphone.
In your car.
At work.
At home.
On your smartphone.
Akọni ọmọ, akọni is a legend of our time. Àlùkò làjú àsọ̀nà, okun àlọ́kàn. Ojú àdìgbé, ẹgbẹ́ tí gbogbo Yorùbá ń sùn lọ. Lójú àdìgbé, ìjọba rí pé akọni ni, akọni ọmọ ṣà ọmọ ni, ọmọ gidi, lídà gidi, ó yẹ ká mọ̀ fún ojúmọ́ bí. Mo tún kí ẹ délé òdélé 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 aláàbí mú. Ṣé bẹ́yìn lọ́mọ àwọn ọmọdú ẹ̀dá? Ta ló fẹ́ wò lójú? Àgùnyàn olóko dànù kò lè ṣàgẹmọ. Ṣé bẹ́yìn lọ́mọ ṣe gbígbí? Ṣe gbígbí? Àgòkù ṣe gbígbí? Lájà. Bàbá mi lókè bàrà bí ẹni tí ò lálàjá. Eégún bẹ nílé ọmọdé ẹmọ. Ògún bẹ lẹ́kùn ọmọ sọ pé pátún bẹ. Lẹ́bà mi ni ẹ̀ ṣàǹgbóhùn erin. Sunday kò ṣà ohun òbí mi. Lẹ́bà mi ni ẹ̀ ṣàǹgbóhùn erin. Ọmọdé ẹmọ tẹ̀rí ẹrù kọjá lórí mi. Nìkan ti ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ ràgò òṣà. Ẹ bá ti rí ọ̀rẹ́ ràgò òṣà. Ọmọ ètùtù fi torí òṣà. Ọmọ ètùtù fi tìrù òṣà. Nínú àwọn òrìṣà dání Sunday kò òṣà. Akọni ọmọ is a legend of our time.
Wow, and welcome back once again. Sorry for all the breaking the transmission, and let us put this through again.
None of you can deny that what I'm saying is the truth. You know it's the truth. But either you won't write it, or you're too cowardly to speak it, because you want some favor here or favor there. So because you can't talk, you are muzzled. I'm not. I'm a free black man. And I didn't come here looking for a handout. And I really don't think you need one. Your problem is that you think you need a handout. Everything you need is right under your foot, but you're looking everywhere else for help instead of to yourself and what you can produce for yourself. This is Africa's dilemma. You are parading yourself before the world as international beggars when you gave civilization to the world. Your problem is not America. Your problem is not Israel. Your problem is not Britain. Your problem is your disunity and your dependence on others to do for you what you could do for yourself. So I don't have to come back here anymore to help you. The help is already here. The knowledge is already here. The land is here. The sun is here. The water is here. The minerals are here. You have some of the finest minds in the world, but they're in Europe and they're in America making money while Africa suffers. Why don't we create politically stable environment and call the children of Africa back home to help build Africa? We are your children, and we will come and help. But don't expect us to come with billions of dollars when we don't have it. We're struggling in America. But you got it all right here under your foot. And you should be ashamed not to look to yourself, begging white folk to give you what you could give yourself. What I said today, which one of these countries is going to give you $20 million? America's not going to give you $20 million. You got it right here. But your disunity won't allow you to pull it. It's your fault. And you got to accept that responsibility. That is why my message is atonement, reconciliation, and responsibility. We got to stop blaming everything on somebody else and see what is our responsibility.
Well, the question now is, many have even decided to compare the current saga. President Tinubu's certificate, should he now resign? Put it in the comment section. Good evening to you, our beautiful mother, Mrs. Doyin Shola Aduke. Good evening to those of you that have joined us. Easy Dollar, a very good evening to you and welcome. Aziz Houston, good evening to you. Good evening to every one of you. If you love this kind of outfit, like I said, you can check it out at Omitaf Culture for women, children, Owambe, kiddies wear. You can send them a WhatsApp plus 081-3852-8588. Or you can add a code plus 234-813852-8588. And be rest assured, you'll be given a very best outfit like mine. Shout out to you, Utsman Shehu, my brother. It was good to see some of you, as there were some of those during the protest that we went for, the special broadcast. There were also people protesting against the outcome of the result in Kano. I don't know what is going to be the outcome, but I've been following that. And I think I saw another communique. They were not happy that people are protesting against certain government at the Nigerian High Commission. My name is Olayolmi Koiki. How did we get to where we have the best, but yet we decided to use a forged document? Let me first bring you back to the real world, because Africa, for me, is not a real world. And you heard it there from Louis Farrakhan. We have everything, and yet we move around to beg. Abraham Black, good evening to you. Silver Badmos, a very good evening to you. Comrade Plan B says, a wonderful good evening to you. Akin Games, welcome. And I hope, how is the weather in Ibadan this evening? Comrade Plan B. Additional says they don't resign in Nigeria unless they are disgraced out of office. Pastor Mark Kivet, good evening, sir. My question tonight to those of you, and I want to read as many of your comments because this is an interactive platform. Abiodun Lexi, good evening to you. Remember to follow us on all our platforms. It's already 18:31 p.m. It's almost the same time, but I believe by end of this month, Nigeria will be 1 hour ahead of UK. Shout out to those of you in Kano, in Sokoto, in Kaduna. There is more kidnapping going on, but many Nigerians are not even talking about that. Let me remind you that 10 youth coppers are kidnapped on the 17th of August. And as I speak to you today, more than a month plus, they've not yet been rescued by the Nigerian military. I don't know why. On behalf of the Star Radio UK, we send our condolences to the family of our beautiful sister that died, or should I say that was stabbed to death. We can't name the young man that is now being charged for the murder. These all happened last week in Croydon. On behalf of Niger Voices, we send our condolences to the Croydon community after the death of Elena Adam, that was knifed to death by another young. The killing of the teenager on her way to school has literally shocked the community, along with the unusual circumstances. Just less than a week after that, on the 1st of October, on Sunday, just by the North London Gate Cambridge roundabout, we had the loss of another young boy. He was stabbed multiple times. He died. Yesterday, you would think that everything of the knife crime would die down. Elena was number 15th young innocent that have died of knife crime in the United Kingdom. But just a week after that, 2 more. The one on Sunday, and yesterday, we also lost another 22-year-old man to knife crime at Cold Arbor Lane in Brixton. Knife crime, last year, according to the data, we have about 14 deaths. We haven't witnessed one in Croydon for a very long time. And we pray that things would drop a little bit. And let's come back now to the real other world. It is King AY. A very good evening to you, all our team. Grandma Le Ajayi, a very good evening to you. My question tonight is, should President Bola Ahmed Tinubu now resign for tendering a forged certificate What is your take? I will open the phone line in the next 20 minutes. When you call in, remember the platform, remember the program. And I'm sure you all understand what I mean by that. There's ethics in the media. And Star Radio UK is not just any other radio station. Let us remind ourselves, we want you to call in, but we will not take calls when you are already using certain words. You have your right, your views. I'll read as many of your comments. I want to hear from the APC team. I've already heard from the Minister of Foreign Affairs, says that what is the big deal about Bola Tinubu's result? Why are you all going cuckoo? Senate confirmed 3 additional ministerial nominees. One of them collapsed during the Senate work. 680,000 children out of school in Kaduna, unacceptable. Tinubu's certificate. We don't have time for furious issues. Foreign affairs. What does it mean by that? Mrs. Funke Felicia Ogunleye, very good evening to you. Mrs. Elizabeth Adesonya, welcome to the program. Mrs. Abosede Rachel, good evening to you. Waris Jinadu, welcome on board. The Foreign Affairs Minister argued that the former President Muhammadu Buhari experienced a similar controversy. Does that mean that we do not have capable hands to run the affairs of the most populous black nation in the world? Is that what we are being told? That we don't have people that have the right GCSE, which I believe is the basic to tender to become the Nigerian president. I remember, a few years back, there was another guy called Buhari, but not the Buhari. He was in London. I remember engaging them. He wanted to be the president. Maybe he just wanted to have it as the presidential candidate. But I believe he had the real, he wanted to be a president, because I asked him a lot of questions. This was before the 2015, if not 2019. He came to the UK. We hosted them. We drilled them with questions. Young man is also called Buhari. I'm sure a lot of you knows him if you are into politics in Nigeria. The question is, why did Bola Tinubu, the president of the most populous black nation, submitted a forged certificate? Why? Was this forged certificate designed in somebody's house through what we called whatever was used to produce it? Is Oluwole still running in Lagos State? If you do not know Oluwole, that means you are a very young Nigerian. You should probably ask those elder in your house. Oluwole was somewhere in Lagos Island. And I am not joking now. If you think that all the embassies in Nigeria do not know Oluwole, you are fooling yourself. Oluwole, for those of us that heard and know a little bit about it, you can take in any document and come out with a very same document. Maybe some of you are too young to know that. You might want to ask with your parent. So, my question to many Nigerians tonight was this forged certificate produced at Oluwole, or it was just produced at home in one office? Bamidele Aliu, very good evening to you. This is still the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. Every Wednesday, you will join me here where we talk about issues. The Yoruba Nation struggle will be coming up in terms of confirmation and information that you need to know in the next few hours. I will open the phone line at 1900 hours. Once again, if you're joining me for the very first time, this is what we say. We welcome you to the Star Radio UK network, where we discuss issues. Should President Bola Ahmed Tinubu do the needful and resign? Or is it just the African thing? There's nothing like resignation. He's not going to resign. But already, I've heard from also some of his team, the aviation minister. I'll be telling you about the deposition that ended Bola Ahmed Tinubu from what we were told in the court yesterday. There's a lot going on, but is it just going to be on the social media? And by the time next week, everybody just, or should we say that the Supreme Court would do the needful? Waris Jinadu says, Nigeria celebrate and reward with impunity and immunity. Any counterfeit goes on at Oluwole. I'm telling you, if you are too young to know Oluwole in Lagos Island, I beg you, go and ask your member of family. Whether you are in the northern part of Nigeria, we know that there's so much happening when it comes to crime, corruption. I was in the court on Monday for the alleged case from the National Crime Agency against a former minister that is also having another case with the EFCC. I'm talking about no one else but Alison Madueke, known as the Zeni. I met her. She's now been charged in UK for corruption. I remember Kemi Adeosun, the former finance minister in Nigeria under the former president Muhammadu Buhari. She resigned after we detected that she never served the NYSC. My question tonight is, was Bola Ahmed Tinubu? Oh, I think we were told that Ahmed was not even part of the name. How did we get to this situation is the question. Festus Keyamo. How many of you know Festus Keyamo? Festus Keyamo is a senior advocate of Nigeria, also CON, FCIA, blue, blah, blah, blah. Happy birthday in advance to Sunday Majasola. This is a message from Grace Ulushoto, our mother. Mrs. Taiwo Kike, good evening to you. Yes, in the next 6 days, we will be celebrating Oloye's birthday. This is what Keyamo said yesterday on his X space. It is now obvious. It is now obvious. What is obvious? It seems that according to Festus Keyamo, the aviation minister that was appointed by this government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu says, and I quote, it is now obvious that the loss of Atiku Abubakar at the last poll hurt him deeply more than all his previous losses put together. It has since sent him spinning like a drunkard, lashing out to hold on to every single straw that resembles a lifeline. This is bad for his health. He should accept that the game is over, as the Chicago State University responses have shown. Have shown what? That Bola Ahmed Tinubu is a forger of a certificate. And when you forge a certificate, the right thing to do is you must resign. That should be what the president should be doing right now. And stop the disgrace of the country that was never even a country. And when we tell you that Nigeria foundation is faulty, this also plays along the line with it. For those of us that have been asking, what is Nigeria? What are you celebrating? 63 years of forging certificate, 63 years of corruption against Alison Madueke, 63 years of corruption against Ibori, 63 years of no pipe-borne water, no good health care, and the governor of Ondo State must travel to save his life so that Nigeria will not happen to him. And then the minister, Fashola, will say, and I quote, what a utter nonsense. Fashola, a minister, says, and I quote, stop using the word, may Nigeria not happen to you. Yesterday in Okota, Isolo, a woman that was pregnant with the son was sent to heaven, if not to her death, because Lasma was crazy to use the driver steering. How did we get to where we are in a country like Nigeria? I feel the pain of so many Nigerians. We feel your pain, but I'm not sure whether some of you feel that same pain. We cry. We are bitter. We now have a precedent that could not tender just the basic WAEC result, end up forge a certificate, and then Festus Keyamo, a senior advocate of Nigeria, says, and I quote, and then so what? How did we get to this stage? Good evening to you, Tinubu'S. In that country, even someone that have no one will never think of resigning, talk less of someone that says he will fight dirty to be the president. Mrs. Abose, they say resign no day for their dictionary. Wow. How did we get to this stage? Once again, it is still the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. My name is Olayolmi Koiki. This was some of the snip view of Alison Madueke on Monday, as I was challenging her to why we've not seen her in the last 8 years. Alison Madueke has been running away from the glare of the cameras. She's been traveling within the UK. I did told her she's not traveling anytime soon. She laughed. She probably thought I'm joking, but I'm sure she knows it is not a joke. Alison Madueke, I can confirm to every one of you, will now have a tag, an electronic tag on her legs, and she will not be able to leave her house between certain hours. She would have to reside in the same address after giving £70,000, about 85 million naira, for a bill. She must live in the same address at St. John's Wood after she gave her name and her date of birth. How did we get to this stage that those that are meant to save Nigeria are the one now in this situation? Are Nigerians ready for change? Do you think that Nigerians are ready for change? Do you think that Nigerians will be ready to have people that could drive this country? How is that going to happen? Omobolaji Abdullah, very good evening to you. Tinubu'S, my brother, says because he knows that people will only shout after a while, everything will soon die down. I was concerned about that when people started shouting about justice for Mohbad. We hope Mohbad gets the justice, just like many of you. But let me remind you of this.
Wọ́n sọ̀rọ̀ bí ọ̀rọ̀ epo àwọn á di 200 á di 5. Ẹ fọkàn balẹ̀, a máa gbé wálẹ̀. Ẹ lọ fọkàn balẹ̀, ẹ lọ fọkàn balẹ̀, ẹ lọ fọkàn balẹ̀.
A very good evening to you, Mace Gold. Alison Madueke, I'm trying to link Bola Tinubu, our former Minister of Petroleum, so many of them in that same bracket. These are people that we gave them the opportunity to drive the country. I am now reading from the deposition from the court, not for the Alison Madueke, but this is for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And these are questions and answers between the lawyers representing Atiku Abubakar. Is the voice gone again? Maze Gold say, criminal ni Tinubu. Can someone confirm if you can still hear me? For those of you on the sister broadcast. Shout out to those of you on the Twitter space. All hail Biafra. And we are so concerned. We will not be bringing anyone in. Please bear with us. What is situation? Many Nigerians will just cry on the social media. And I believe this time next week, everything goes back to normal. DG75, my brother, welcome to the program. This is the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. And tonight, we're looking into what we can say the forged certificate to INEC. How did we get to that stage? Is Bola Tinubu the only person? I'm sure definitely not. I'm sure there are so many politicians, both in all the political parties, that have similar bags of so much corruption. We just have to dig a little bit. President Tinubu's certificate scandal, should he resign, is the topic. Thank you so much, Bishop Additional. This man says, where do we go from here now, folks? That is the question. I don't know. I'm asking every one of you. Good evening to you, my brother and my sisters, my aunties. Saliu. Good evening, sir. Vincent, Luna, Matthew, good evening to you. Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? So let me give you some of what we've had so far on Bola Tinubu, the president of the most populous black nation in the world. Question. I am handing you what has been marked as Exhibit 6. This purports to be a June 22, 1979, issued to Mr. Bola Tinubu. You can see it is stamped by INEC. It is stamped by INEC on the diploma as well. Have you seen this document before? And the answer, in the proceeding of this case, yes. Another question came through. You have never seen this document prior to proceeding in this case. Correct. Question. And I will submit to you that this diploma is the diploma that Mr. Tinubu reported to the INEC. Do you have any reason to doubt that statement with a question mark? The answer, no. Question again. And this June 22, 1979 diploma, I will refer to as the INEC diploma for the simplicity's sake. Or do you understand? With a question mark. Yes. It went on again. And let us take a look at the INEC diploma. INEC diploma says that the diploma is granted on this 22nd day of June 1979. Correct? Yes. The question again, and the Chicago State University didn't have a board of trustees in the 1979. Did he? True. Another question. So let us look at the signature on the INEC diploma. On the right, it looks like one of the signatures says Eleanora Daniel, correct? Yes. And Eleanora Daniel was not the chair or the president of the Chicago State University in 1979, correct? Yes. And she was the president from 1998 to 2008, correct? As far as I am aware. For the other two signatures, The one on the right looks like Albert A. Connell. It doesn't state Dean under it, correct? It does not appear that may be cut off from the extra. But it is not true. I do not see it on the paper. And Albert A. Collin was not the dean in 1979, correct? As far as I am aware. And the signature on the left, who was that? Answer, very hard to make out signatures. I am not sure what the name is. Another question, do you think this person was the chairman of the board in 1979 with a question mark? I didn't say that. Answer. Question, are you looking at a different document? Question mark. A. Answer, I think this matches what we have for Exhibit 10 and 11. From the Bates stamp, Chicago State University, so, and the Chicago State University 11. Question, and those diploma piles from the 90s, well, it is not from the Chicago State University one, correct? Pops, you are correct. Mr. Ace, keep your voice up, please. The witness 9 and 10. So, Miss Liu, and the date for the included on the diploma for Chicago State University 9 and 10 and 1998 and 1999 respectively, correct? Yes. And so this person on the left hand side, Exhibit 6, the signature, he wasn't the chairman of the board in 1979, correct? And the seal, everything must have a seal. Every organization have a seal, S-E-A-L. And the seal on Exhibit 6 doesn't have it as triangle. The one Bola Tinubu submitted had a triangle with its line through it, question mark, yes. And the seal doesn't have the word responsibility under it, question mark, correct, answer. Not on this copy, no. And the seal does not have the 1867 under it, question mark, not on this copy. Another question, and you are unaware of any diploma that include these three signatures being issued by the Chicago State University, correct? Answer, correct. And you are unaware from any diploma from the 1979 that includes the triangle seal having been issued by the Chicago State University, correct? Correct. And you have never seen a diploma that cut off the triangle seal in this manner, correct? You have never seen a diploma that cut off. How did we get to this stage? Additional Timothy, a very good evening, sir. You're welcome to the Star Radio UK, the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. We're coming back again.
Wọ́n sọ̀rọ̀ bí ọ̀rọ̀ epo àwọn á di 200 á di 500. Ẹ fọkàn balẹ̀, a máa gbé wálẹ̀. Ẹ lọ fọkàn balẹ̀, ẹ lọ fọkàn balẹ̀, ẹ lọ fọkàn balẹ̀.
My question is, how much time would all these go on the social media and everything goes quiet? Let's leave that to one side. There's a lot of different things people are saying around this certificate, different opinion, different views. You can go on and on and on and on the social media. But the real conversation that I'm asking is, would anything change at the Supreme Court? This man says the case at hand is serious because this is about integrity of all our Nigerian politicians. I'm told that petrol now is 700 naira as we speak. What do you think would happen at the Supreme Court? Many Nigerians are speaking. 2 minutes before 1900 hours, you're still on the Star Radio UK network. Do you think Supreme Court will take action upon it with this new evidence of an alleged, well, not alleged, sorry, I was using Deseni as an alleged because we don't want to mix it together, a forged document. Tomorrow, Nnamdi Kanu court case is coming up at the Supreme Court tomorrow, just in case you are not aware. Remember that it was kidnap rendition by Muhammadu Buhari's government and Yemi Osinbajo back to Nigeria. Tinubu is not accused of forgery. Evidence has shown that the Chicago State University have confirmed that the certificate Tinubu submitted to INEC is not the same certificate from them. My question now is, do you think that the Supreme Court judges would do the needful? Ariwola, remember, he sneaked into London. Do you think that they will do anything? Some Nigerians says, I doubt the Supreme Court will admit new fact as evidence. And if they are not admitting the new fact, that means that Bola Tinubu will remain the Nigerian president for the next 4 years. But the integrity of the president around the world would never leave him. It will continue to haunt him. Nigerians around the world would also be haunted. You know why? Your first #1 citizen has forged a document. You are likely to be affected at some point, whether you are in Nigeria or outside Nigeria. You are likely to be told to step aside because of your brand called Nigeria. You are likely to be put to one side so that they can double check that the Nigerian passport you're traveling with is not a forged one. Many of you do not understand the consequence of what this forged certificate is going to do to many of us. Mrs. Comfort Ologunja, a very good evening to you. Ijaya, good evening to you. Comrade Shegun Honor, Kunle Baker, shout out to you. Mrs. Ojo, good evening to you. Waris Dinadu says the university will just have to certify the certificate and authenticate any transcript that goes with the Chicago State University. Remember that the FBI, from what we are hearing, also going to be releasing some document about the president. What is your take? Supreme Court is set to announce Judgment Day. We don't know when, but everyone is waiting. Do you think that all these will make any changes? This man says change is difficult for those who oppose change, and we are in this Yoruba nation struggle to win it, according to Professor Banji Akintoye. I am more of worried. Many Nigerians will be traveling to as simple as any other countries in Africa with a Nigerian passport, and that passport is a genuine original passport from the passport office, but you'll be put to one side because this stigma that the President Bola Tinubu have now put on every one of us as Nigerians is going to go a long way. Apart from those that have a different identity due to naturalization or holding a different passport to the Nigerian passport. Ashake TV, Eledumare, Aranwalowo, welcome to you, Olutobi Olushesi. What a disgrace. What an utterly disgrace of the president. If this was in UK, I would have believed by yesterday resignation would have been tender. Let's open the phone line briefly, +44 74 044 05917. In case you want to also have your voice, we're only taking the calls, no other way. If you want to call in, the number is +44 74 044 05917. Aki Games, good evening to you. I am told Ibadan is very, very beautiful. Comrade Plan B says Simon Ekpa is my love. Nnamdi Kanu appears again tomorrow at the court. A very good evening to those of you that have joined us. Mrs. Fatima Mustafa, I welcome you, ma.
Wọ́n sọ̀rọ̀ ti ọ̀rọ̀ epo àwọn á di 200 á di 500. Ẹ fọkàn balẹ̀ á máa gbé wálẹ̀.
Ẹ lọ fọkàn balẹ̀, ẹ lọ fọkàn balẹ̀, ẹ lọ fọkàn balẹ̀.
Mrs. Florence says we are doomed with the Nigerian passport. Omar Sheo. For those of us that still hold a Nigerian passport, prepare your mind for so many things ahead. Do not become agitated when you're traveling with a Nigerian passport if you're pulled to one side. Remember, the integrity of your president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is going to have a big impact. Let me take what Shoyombo Isayo, I'm sure many of you know him very well. He's an investigative journalist. And he says, and I quote, everything I said in this thread has turned out to be true. Number one, that Tinubu attended the Chicago State University. The university has repeatedly confirmed that. Number two, that the details of his studentship will tell us more about his dark side. A, Tinubu forged the certificate in his possession. What is the meaning of forge? Let's look for the English dictionary of forge. English dictionary of forge. When we say something is forged, Oluwole, for those of you that knows Oluwole, and Oluwole was used by everyone, from the Igbos, the Yorubas, the Hausas, every Nigerians were making use of it. Maxwell Benji say, Nigeria is officially done internationally. Otumba 1010, very good evening, sir. I want to hear from many of you, the supporter of this present administration. The argument some of them have said is, well, Buhari also had nothing less than what Tinubu have, so why are we worried? Change is always difficult for those who oppose change, and we are in this struggle to win, according to the Yoruba Nation struggle leader, Professor Adebanji Akitoye. The meaning of the word F-O-R-G-E-D, Frederick Oscar Romeo Golf Echo Delta, is just called fake, fraudulently. Bola Tinubu, the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, fraudulently gave a certificate to back his ambition for Emilokon as the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Do you think that you as a Nigerian today, if you forge your documents to get a job and the office found out that that certificate, the certificate from whatever, whether your university, your polytechnic, or you deceived that you have what it takes to have a certificate from online study, and we find out that that certificate was, what do you expect the company to do? Ayedaru, Mrs. Fatima Mustafa says, good evening. Olayolmi, Koiki, Allah continue to guide you, inshallah. I say, Amina. Mrs. Elizabeth say, àṣepamọ́ ló wà, àṣegbé kan ò sí. Bola Ahmed Tinubu gbin ohun ló ń kọ́ lówó. Right. Thank you so much. Keep the comment coming. You can also call into the program +44 74 044 05 917. What does it mean to forge something? To make or imitate. Many of you want to be like someone and you pretend to be that person. Forge is a very, if you forge a document to travel to any European countries and you are caught, you will be taken to the court and justice will be served. The question now is, should we take Bola Tinubu to the court for forging a certificate? What is your take on all these? Jesu Gbogbo says, and I quote, Nigeria is finished. Many Nigerians are not seeing the consequence of this in the long term. Even if Bola Tinubu remains the Nigerian president, which I think it will be, because I'm not seeing any outcome from the... I don't trust the institution called the judiciary in Nigeria. I'm sorry. Not like the one I saw on Monday that said to Dezeni, and I quote, that Dezeni will be tagged from 11 p.m. to 6 a.m. Monday to Sunday. She must not leave her house. She must remain in that premises. If she's found anywhere near ports, Heathrow Airport, Gatwick Airport, any shipping port, she will be detained and she will be sentenced. It was not just Dezeni, Alison Madueke, that was in the court on Monday. We also have Mrs. Olatundu Anyide, a female, reside in UK, have 2 children, live with her mother. Dezeni says she's not working. This man says that certificate doesn't look authentic. Adeosun Timothy say, bẹ́ẹ̀ ni o. Bàbá wa Boye Mayugbe, èmi ò mọ̀ tójú kó bẹ̀rù ẹni mọ̀ wá. Hey, look at the way how they speak Yoruba like ọmọ ngbati. What a time to be alive. Forge. Who actually forged that certificate for Bola Tinubu? It would be nice to know the person that produced that certificate. Is it a company? Is that what they specialize in? Was it done through the AI? Are you concerned, Nigerians? Are you concerned that this will have a big stigma on every single one of us? This will backfire for me and you as Nigerians, that our president, the Jagaban of Nigeria or the Yoruba land, the Ashiwaju one, forged his certificate to become the president of the most populous black nation in the world. How do you feel about all this? Was Atiku right to go after? Let's go back to Soyombo. After Soyombo says Tinubu forged the certificate in his possession, he lied about his age. He lied in the document he presented for admission. He has clearly committed perjury. All this big English, we must break it down for layman like us. What is the meaning of perjury? When we use the word perjury, what does it mean? Perjury. What does it mean? As Nigerians, if you commit the same crime like the President Bola Tinubu today, how do you think you will be handled in anywhere you are in Nigeria? Probably not even outside Nigeria. Bola Tinubu has committed perjury. Warijin also says the transcript courses speaks first. Mobolaji says fire on the mountain to escalate in location Jagba by Auntie Adenike. Oh, what are you saying? Are we saying that Bola Tinubu is a female, not a male? Well, let's wait for the FBI more document in the next couple of weeks to unveil who truly is Bola Ahmed Tinubu. It seems that Bola Tinubu's dark side is going to haunt him for a very long time. This is still the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. My name is Olayolmi Koiki. There is fire on the mountain. Mo kí bàbá wa lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí Boye Mayugbe ẹ káàbọ̀ sórí ètò, and good evening to every one of you. Are you a concerned Nigerian? Are you worried? Or you are just like Koiki, let this pass. It is just the way it is. Well, I am okay if it passed, but I am worried if you are traveling to anywhere within Africa, even as closest to Kenya, and you are pulled over due to the fact that you're carrying a Nigerian passport. If you love the kind of outfit that I'm putting on tonight, this was produced by the finest fashion designer to keep us going on the Star Radio UK Nigeria Voices. I hope Archie and Frank are not jealous of this my outfit. I met with Frank yesterday after a very long time. He's been working very hard. We pray for you and we continue to love and appreciate every single one of you. Get in touch with Omitaf Culture. You can check them out on the IG for the bespoke tailoring, Ashwebi, custom made Owambe. There was a wahala in London with an Ashwebi. A woman actually cursed everyone that was in the party without putting on the Ashwebi. Wow. Wahala deal. Have you seen that video? Once again, a very good evening and welcome to the program. As we continue to ask the question, Godina House of Beauty says, and I quote, there's a serious fire on the mountain. There's a serious fire on the mountain. What is the fire? That old man should bribe his way out and rule and nothing would happen. Shebi, it is Nigeria. Well, let's agree that it is Nigeria. What about you if you're just traveling from Nigeria to Cotonou and you have to probably need a passport, or you are traveling and you're just stopped without a passport? Because if you're traveling within the West African country, you're not expected to have a passport. But if I say I am a Nigerian, what kind of stigma is going to come back on you? Are you concerned or should we pass? There's a particular program that my wife is watching lately. There are these beautiful young girls, beautiful, beautiful in shape and size. And there's some young man that wants a new, wife. And they say, pass, or is it pass, or what do they normally say? I have to ask my wife. I'm sure some of you saw these on the YouTube. It says pass. If you want it, you let the man, you say, I want the one that is chubby. I don't want this one that is short. I don't want, and I laugh each time I watch it, when my wife is, watching it. Let's go back again and ask the question. Now that we have been told from the evidence in the public domain, should we say that the president has now committed these perjury? What is the meaning of perjury? What should be done for someone that has committed the meaning of the offense of willfully telling an untruth or making a misrepresentation under oath? So President Bola Ahmed Tinubu made a misrepresentation under the oath to INEC with a forged document, a forged diploma certificate. That is a serious offense if this was in UK. St. Patrick says, and I quote, he should resign immediately or be sacked by the senators. Do you think all this is going to happen? Silver Badmo says, Brother Koiki, our passport never have value before, so Tinubu no be the first time all these evil leaders. So what the brother is saying, that we already have issues with our passport. Quadri creation. Good evening, sir. So with this issue of the President Bola Tinubu, that is meant to be the first citizen of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, because every president represents the citizen. And it seems that Bola Tinubu integrity is now under test. Bishop Adesina says, and I quote, it is not in their dictionary in Nigeria to resign. Abraham Black, White Lion, let the Northerners they play now. They will know that the South are not their mate. They don't want nothing to they don't want nothing to do about Tinubu forged certificate, because they are the one fear of the South exit from Nigeria. Okay. So what the brother is saying there is, forget about the perjury, forget about the forge. The Northerners will not do much. But I think I have one individual that is already speaking. And who is this individual? Well, let's hear from this individual. I can't get the name, but I have the video that the audio is going to come to us in a minute. You are still on the Star Radio UK, the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. My name is Olayolmi Koiki. I do host this program every Wednesday in the last 6 years, and we continue to say this is the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. Shout out to every one of you that have joined us. My question tonight is, should President Bola Tinubu do the needful and resign? Or should we just say that is not going to happen? Because resignation is not in our dictionary. Bear with us as we are preparing for that particular video. Let's come back again and ask question. 19 minutes past. Nnamdi Kanu return back again to the court tomorrow. What is your take on that? Do you think that justice will be served to Mohbad? May his soul continue to rest in peace. St. Patrick says that he's going. He can't continue to be Nigerian president. Simple. We don't want someone that forged documents to be the president. I guess that is what you mean. While we are still trying to ask questions, I am saying again, what is the end game? The end game of all these for Bola Tinubu and his team? Should they just continue to find solution to the problem of Nigeria when it comes to the economic situation? The dollar is 1,000 naira to a dollar. The pound sterling is now becoming 1,200 and something naira. All this is happening in Nigeria. The question is, how much time? Baba Boye says, and I quote, this is very conspicuous blemish on all Nigerians home and abroad. Which way Nigeria? I remember I played that music last week. We don't have to go through it again. If he's just a son of nobody in Nigeria, his teeth must have been removed by the DSS. So my father there is saying that if this was just me and you in Nigeria today, our teeth will don't come out. Are you worried? Are you concerned? Or should we just say, you know what? It's just the normal thing, Yomi Koiki. Just let it be. Nothing is going to come out of this. Bola Ahmed Tinubu also has a dual citizenship passport. Mrs. Adejoke Williams says, I think it will be okay. And our passport has a... I'm waiting for the rest of the comment. Additional says, some of the senators have started supporting Tinubu already. Shameless country. Did you hear that? Senators have already supported. I remember a lot of senators traveled down for Ike Kirimadu case. As I speak to you right now, Ike Kirimadu is serving a prison sentence here in London. Once again, keep it coming. Shout out to as many of you that have joined us on all the platforms. And we say good evening. Today is the 4th of October, 2023. How do we put all this together? 63 years of war. Easy Dollar says, and I quote, time for Tinubu to resign. Our mother, Mrs. Comfort Ologunja says, and I quote, Tinubu should free Kanu, lift embargo on Sunday Igboho, also dissolve the Nigeria before Shetima becomes president. I believe this was a planned agenda to get Tinubu out of power. Wow. Wow. That is another angle. Easy Dollar. Good evening to you. Sorry for those of you on another platform. There was a break in the transmission earlier. We're doing everything possibly best to make sure that we stay afloat. At 7:30, we're going to start discussing issues affecting the Yorubas in Nigeria and the Biafra. And that means it's a sponsored program from Ilana Omo Odua. I'll be telling you what Professor Banji Akitoye said last week, Wednesday. But for now, I'm still asking every one of you, do you think that the Supreme Court, let's read some of the response of many Nigerians on this most talked about, hashtag free Nnamdi Kanu, hashtag, oh, I've not even heard what Showore is saying. It's good. Showore is our friend on the Star Radio UK. Let me read what Showore is saying right now. When we are ready for revolution, when we are ready for hashtag revolution action, everyone that is for the liberation of our space, we get on board. Hashtag revolution now. This is what Showore said on the 29th of September at Freedom Park. It will be nice. We're having problem, trying to load. It seems that it's a very busy night. Everybody's on the social media and we can't get into, the X space from the other platform. We're trying our best so that we can see if we can at least, get some of, because if I play from here, you might not be able to hear it from some of you on the other side. Once again, every one of you, my question tonight is Yoruba. Okay, somebody sending a request. Who is that? Yoruba Nation Now. Okay. Let's see if that can come in quickly just for a few minutes. Since we asked people to call in, if you're still there, go ahead, unmute yourself for just 2 minutes before we continue with the program. A very good evening, Yoruba Nation Now.
Yeah, Olayolmi, it's myself.
Good evening. You're welcome.
Yeah, I'm sure everyone would recognize my voice. The best solution is that we should just intensify our campaign for Yoruba Sovereign Nation. We need to intensify that and just get out. Look, the system called that is governing Nigeria, is way beyond what we're thinking. I think everyone is just so blinkered. They're only just looking they can only see what's in front of them. They can't see the left and the right. What we are facing is more than what we can see. Tinubu himself is a victim of that system. But I actually feel sorry for him. Being placed there in order to keep us Yorubas quiet. This is not something that, we are all victims of what's going on here. So we need to intensify our campaign.
Okay.
In fact, we need to be preaching the gospel of removing those colonial lines that these people have used to put their boots on our necks.
Okay.
He's just a servant of that system. It's not just happening just to us that are in Nigeria. Nigeria is just part of that system. It's happening to all African countries. However, I think the Yorubas can lead that way. Both the Yorubas and the Biafras, we have to start putting more pressure to get ourselves out of Nigeria. Forget Nigeria is not going to work because the system that set it up is flawed. Note that all those that are going, okay, now I say Tinubu he's a victim. We have to also ask the question, what would make a man fake his identity? Nobody's asking these questions. Why would he go as far as being put under so much pressure to fake his identity? Why would he put himself under so much pressure to push himself so far to the extent of getting to a stage where he's so pushed to that limit? We need to think of the psychological effect. This whole system is affecting black people across the whole world. For a man to fake his identity and not even care, not even care at all, whether he's not only endangering himself, but other people's lives. What will push a man to that extent? Are we asking ourselves that question? Who is benefiting at the end of the day from all this upheaval? Because while we're focusing
I love that word. Who is benefiting while we are even discussing all these things?
This is the question that we need to ask ourselves.
Who is benefiting?
While we are fighting ourselves, questioning, Tinubu has a fake identity. The Biafrans as well will now start attacking the Yorubas. Oh, the Yorubas, they're faking their stuff. All the Nigerians are now worried that, we're getting a bad identification across the world. Who is going to benefit at the end of that? Who is benefiting? Why because they must have known that, there was some form of skullduggery going on. But yet still, during the elections, we knew that the elections was flawed. Every year they hold that election. It is a flawed election. Let us now say they removed the Tinubu. Who is going to be there? Another fake person. So what are we talking here? Who is benefiting from these things?
So it's just like a rotating something.
Exactly. Black people, we need to wake up and see that this system that is being run is being set up against us. So let's wake up now. which is all those boundaries that they have used to create Africa. 54 boundaries need to come down. Right? We can start with one nation, which is Yoruba nation, or not even one nation. Yoruba nation, Biafra nation. Let us meet.
And when you look at the, you talked about the 54 nation comparing to the 27 European country that are, again, you know, when you look at the numbers, it doesn't add up. We have 54 that are struggling.
We're not imagine the damage we're not 54. We are more. There are nations, they created those boundaries. Remember,
the 1884, yeah, 1884, Berlin Conference, yeah.
So this, once we can realize what the problem is those boundaries, because the boundaries have been set up in order to benefit a particular world system. Now we need to come out of those boundaries. We need to come and then be ourselves within our original cultural and linguistic lines. And then we can now find that we can progress. Are we not asking ourselves, why are there no industries inside our individual locations? Inside the boundaries that they created. No industries, bad leadership, no future for those that are coming, and those are going, they're gone. But those that are coming, they are now in a dire straits. Look at what's happening with the youth. The youths are now on drugs.
Yeah.
Are we not questioning ourselves, why are we in this mess? Whereas those resources, but yet still we are not benefiting from it. We are one bad leadership after the other. We are being asked to stay in spaces that we don't want to be in. It is time that we wake up and just realize that this problem is not volatile. It is not those because they are all victims. We are all victims of this. So we now need to come together, realize what that problem is, place the elephant in the room, and then get these foods off our neck. I yield the mic.
Thank you so much. And that is our sister Buki from the Yoruba Nation now, one of the campaigner for the Yoruba. We are now under that particular segment, and I appreciate her for coming in to give us the first input. There's a lot I picked up from that conversation. I would like to appreciate her for being part of the program this evening. This is still the Star Radio UK. Olawale says they played a game. They know if Tinubu resign, Nigeria would divide. So there's tendency that Sister Buki talked about. Somebody says, and I quote, "Why do we want the power to go back to the north?" I'm not sure what you mean by why do we want the power to go to the north. We're not talking about power going back to the north. We're talking about the fraudulent certificate of President Bola Tinubu. Kick says, all of you are crying for north in Nigeria will still be one. Okay, that's fine. Well, if Nigeria still won, I hope may Nigeria not happen to you. That is your view. Saint Patrick says, Biafra nation, Hausa nation, share the country soon. Keep the comment coming. We do not mind if it is not the kind of comment that some people might want to hear as well. But that is your right. If you want to keep Nigeria, you can keep Nigeria. But at some point, the country will divide. Sister Buki talked about the drug use. And I'm just going to move swiftly away from there and link this now to the Yoruba nation that we are talking about and the Biafra nation. We're going to be telling you more about Nnamdi Kanu appearance tomorrow at the court. Well, not appearance, but again, there's a court case. So let's leave the forged certificate of President Bola Tinubu. We've been able to say in the last 1.5 hours, we've talked about so much from that. We're going to move swiftly. Nobody's saying that the power should go back to the north. The question is, Bola Tinubu has forged the certificate that is going to have a ripple effect on many Nigerians in the long run. Whether you agree with that or not, definitely time will tell. Let's come into the present situation that the leader of the Yoruba self-determination struggle is concerned and worried about. And it's just not concerned about just a particular indigenous people, but all Nigerians. Sister Buki talked about something that I'm going to lash on quickly. And this is in the paper today, Punch newspaper, in case you want to reference it. This is the headline: violence depression spread in the cities as more teenagers fall prey to illicit drugs. I saw a video today, a young man, I believe he's a young man, from the video, posted on the IG by one of the, platform I was watching it from, hanged himself. I hope he didn't die. This means that there's many Nigerians going into depression. These happen, I don't know whether today, yesterday, but the video is already, I'm sure some of you will come across it at some point. They were trying to cut off the rope. The young man dropped, either from the top, and the rope was already, he wanted to commit suicide. Please do not commit suicide. I understand the pressure in Nigeria. Let's read through this particular article. Very, very detailed. I read it about 5 o'clock this morning. It's nice to read it again. The World Health Organization report reveals that apart from cannabis, other substances used by children and youth surveyed in Africa include benzodiazepines. These are medical terms. I'm sure some of you will bear with us, such as diazepam and also chlorpromazine, while 3.7% inject themselves with drugs. In this report by Benga Oluniran, write about drug-addicted children's battle against brain disorder and violence. 27-year-old Omotayo Olajide was stabbed multiple times in June 2023 this year by teenage boys numbering up to 7 and of the age between 14 and 17 years old in Mile 12 area of Lagos State. Saying he was terrified during the attack, when speaking with the correspondent, Omotayo narrated how the boys were reeking of alcohol and Indian hemp. That day in the afternoon, I was going to buy a reading lamp. I stopped at my 12 market. Some boys beckoned me, but I ignored them and told them not to call me again. They were just small boys. I did not answer them because they were very rude. I thought it was over, but after some time, one of them entered the shop where I went to get the lamp. He came with a broken bottle. I'm sure some of you know the way they fight in Nigeria. When they break the bottle, they'll have the sharp edge. He came with a broken bottle and ordered me to come out of the place. He was going to destroy things in the shop if I didn't come outside. Omotayo, who said he was still shocked by the experience, told the correspondent. According to him, he became scared of the boy when the shop owner asked him to leave because he did not want trouble. At that point, I knew the boys were dreaded in the area. The boy was holding a little portion of wrapped Indian hemp that was left with him while he was still smoking. The broken bottle was on the other hand. The owner of the shop told me to leave when the guy kept threatening and shouting that he would destroy things in the shop. He added, this was in Lagos State, Mile 12. He said before he knew it, other boys numbering about 6, suspected to be members of the other boys' gang, arrived at the scene. They started hitting me with weapons all over my body. When I realized the situation was becoming a matter of life and death for me, I tried to defend myself with an item I found around, but they overpowered me. They stabbed me all over the body. I was in the pool of blood, he told the newspaper. Omotayo was later hospitalized at Allah Specialist Hospital in Mile 12 area with plasters and bandages on his head. When the correspondent visited him at the clinic, part of his skin was being stitched from the broken bottle. This is happening in Lagos State. So when some of you do not understand the amount of drugs, cocaine, heroin running around in the country, I was telling you about these documents. Many Nigerians do not even know that this document exists. This is a document that has to do with the National Conference of 2014 report. The tale of the young boys causing terror in Lagos has been reoccurring, and in many cases, this was linked by the most of their victims and other residents to their abuse of add drugs. WHO on substance abuse. According to the World Health Organization, cannabis remains the most widely used illicit substance in African region. The highest prevalence and increase in use is being reported in West and Central Africa, with rate between 5.2% and 13.5%. Such as ecstasy now ranks as Africa's second most widely abused drug type. Other substances that were used by children and youth survey in Africa, such as this diazepam and other ones, including inhalants, why 3.7 will always inject themselves. Lagos children and drugs. According to the correspondent, was My 12 and Agege areas of Lagos, and observed that young boys at different nooks and crannies were seen with some adults. He gathered that the adults were sending them on errands to purchase alcohol or cigarette. In some cases, they share some of the substance with the young children or the young ones, especially alcohol contain. You know, that's what they're doing in Nigeria now. All these manufacturers, maybe so that it is easy for you to buy it, but it can be abused. Everything is now in sachet, even milk. I'm sure some of you that lives in Nigeria know what I'm talking about. So the question is, can we continue to live in this kind of environment? Can we continue to live in this kind of world? Do you think that this government will be ready, to change the narrative? Oh, I didn't realize that the internet was switched off. That was why we couldn't get access to some of what I wanted to talk about earlier. But now that it's back, now we can look into, I was wondering why the connection was not happening, but now I think it's going to happen. So before we go into it again, the question is, there was another resident, Akim Jimo, who spoke. There is now the use of cocaine and all kind of illicit drugs in Lagos State, mostly in Agege area. I'm sure many of you have come across there. There's cultism. There's a lot happening. And the question is, do you think that we can continue in this direction? Once again, I'm going to go back. Yes.
The reason I'm saying go around the world, where there's a mass population of black people. Go and look at what happens with the Indians, the native Indians. Even now, what's happening with them now. In order to subjugate them, they start to inject things like alcohol and drugs. It's now happening within our own.
Sorry, yeah, continue, Sister Buki, while we hold on the caller. Hold on, caller.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
Once you have destroyed the population, your nation is finished.
Wow. All right, we come back to you, Sister Buki. Let's take the caller because of the long distance. Go ahead, our caller. Welcome to Niger Voices on the Star Radio UK. And like I said, a lot is happening in Nigeria. We are now discussing, like Sister Buki said, destroy the youth. And it is not just happening in Lagos. It is happening across the 36 states of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Go ahead, the caller, Bishop.
Yeah, thank you very much, Koiki. I'm not in the caucus that believe in talk. I'm an action person. I believe in research a problem. There's nothing we are all talking that we don't know that it actually exists and happening. But what is the solution and how do we go about it? And that's the reason I don't talk much. But little I do, you see action and execute. Now, living in Nigeria, the new trend that will shock you now is that the Boko Haram that you are fed for in the north is in the south, but they are not Fulani. They are same Yoruba thugs and touts. The same incident, how Boko Haram insurgent happened in the north, and how these politicians equipped these youth in the north, promised them, use them to destabilize the nation over there. The same is what has been implemented in the south. And that's why you see all these mad people in clothes. Look at the scenario that happened to that boy that you just talked about. And these people are walking free in the streets. They behave you see them like a normal human being, or like all this, but they are ready to bully anybody on the street. I'm telling you, this is
I'm just getting another message that a young Navy officer was beaten to death in Ondo State. This is coming from one of our mothers that is from that town. That he was beaten to death for incidentally splashing water on one of the young men.
Now, it is already in operation here. So I've warned my people now, you don't walk too early in the morning and you don't walk too late in the night. People you see on the street in the day watching you, you feel they are human beings. When you walk too late or too dark and in isolation, they can turn to be cannibal. And this is happening not only in Lagos, but in the south generally. When you are living too comfortable, there are people around you watching you, and they are developing enmity against you because life is so comfortable for them. And I don't know how. I would say I don't know how we get to this. This has been what we've been clamoring lately, but it is the handwork of these politicians. And people should stop being sentimental about Tinubu. Tinubu is all what is happening is they are the machinery or the result of what they've done, what has put them in power. And now, if the same machinery is not okay or haunting them, don't be sentimental and say it's not his fault. They have been the grandfather of all these things. Tinubu didn't just enter politics. He has been in politics since before 1999 Constitution. And they succeed in politics using all these thugs and all these crooked ways. So don't be sentimental about whatever is happening to him up there or whatever. He could have, you told him. But you called him, told him. Didn't listen. He knew about the attack of Chief Igboho. He gave go ahead. If Chief Igboho have died, he will be president today. So what are you talking about? So whatever is happening to him is his choice. But the damage they have done to Yoruba people is enormous. It's dangerous more than what is even facing. They have money to take off tickets, to take off jet and fly out. They have all that. They don't care about the damage of their name, Tinubu or whatever he used a false certificate or whatever. He doesn't care about that. So that feeling, his children, they have dual citizen or they have investment and money all around the world. But do you that they have mortgage your life, mortgage your future, have any alternative life, even in Yoruba land, not to talk of away. So people should stop this sentiment about him, Yoruba man, and Fulani will now get there. It doesn't matter who gets there. What runs in Nigeria will keep running. Things did not change when Tinubu gets there. Things become even worse. Because it has worse during Buhari. Buhari just covered it because he has to hand over to Tinubu. So Naira didn't just fall. Naira has been falling since they've been borrowing money. But Emefiele used his intelligence to hold the Naira by giving the international price and a value and giving local price another value to use it to push it. But now that he left, they have to do it the normal way. They don't know that they inherit a destroyed economy. Were they not telling us that they are rich, they are not looking for money? So how come they got there? That shows the level of ignorance. They are just experimenting with Nigeria, and they know things are bad. A month before Tinubu get there, I came on board and I explained and analyzed all what will happen during Tinubu tenure based on what Buhari has done, one by one, from economic, from naira fall to fuel increase. Many of the idiot Yorubas on the media were saying that politicians send me. It will not be so. No, it did not so. How did naira fall within 2-3 months from 450 naira to 1,000 naira? Is it politicians that send me now? How long will Yoruba people will be gullible people? But we just know how to talk and talk and talk. Why are you talking? Why don't you see plan your future, plan your destiny, and execute it? Who is holding you? So when you talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk, who will sympathize for you? No, as you see any country sympathizing for you.
Wow.
So I'm just saying this. We should stop all this sentiment. Yes, self-determination awareness is going. It will keep going till we have our nation. But we should start doing something wherever you are. Stop all this talk and talk. Start doing something. We have about 300 and something groups. What is those groups doing for Yoruba people? What are they doing? Only me single-handedly, I did Uruba with little of my friends. I created a currency that will assist and rescue financial assets of Yoruba people whenever everything scatters. How much more groups? What can groups do if they mean well for Yoruba people? Would they do bigger things more than that? What they can do is to beg money from all over Yoruba need money. They're begging money from people and they want to use the money to do campaign. Is the only campaign that you use to actualize nation? If you don't have experience of how to get a nation, go and study how those people who do self-determination and get their nation, how did they achieve it? Go and study. Recently, Ukraine, as of 2 months ago, have increased 56% increase in their economy. Inside war, they are fighting war. Their economy appreciated by 65%. How did they do it? I went into research and study. It is what we did that they did. The citizens are outside the country, but they are able to coordinate all of them through digital and internet banking. The bank has been destroyed, but the bank is operating. You say you want a nation. You don't want to do any. Nigeria Central Bank started working 2 years before Nigeria independence. Go and look at the Act, CBN Act, 1958. Nigeria Bank, Naira start working before Nigeria got independent. You think it is when we get Yoruba nation, that's when we will now do everything. What's wrong with our passport? How come we cannot have our passport? Who says we can? Who is handling that? Must we get independent before Yoruba passport be set rolling? Countries are waiting to approve it. And there are some foolish and gullible people saying that no, you don't go ahead and do it. It is when we have our country we can do it. Òfin òsì náà ni òfin ìmọ̀ tí ò gbé Yorùbá débi kankan náà ni tún know. Fulani did not go to school, but Fulani know banking and finance. They are the one controlling all your bureau de change. When are we going to stop all this trash and start doing something for ourselves? When they ask you, look at Israel. United Nations, what did the United Nations during Barack Obama tell the president of the prime minister of Israel that they will divide Jerusalem into two? That one, the west will be for the Palestine. I mean, the West will be for Israel, the East will not be for Palestine. The Israel people, the Prime Minister did not even talk. The Israel analysts, they said, who are the people in United Nations that they decide on their father that owns the land of Israel, that will decide for them. That it is what they decide for themselves. That's what today Jerusalem is still one. Who just come there and divide it? But Yoruba doesn't believe in themselves. They don't believe in themselves.
Wow.
Let me stop there, Koiki. Thank you very much.
That is a very powerful one. I'm going to come back again to you, Sister Bookie there. It's just a few minutes, to 8 p.m. We are now on the discussion matter when it comes to TJ Baba. Good evening to you. Ukraine celebrity fight for Ukraine, so you can't expect Nigeria celebrity to fight for you. Grandma Felicia Jagbe, good evening to you. I want us, now that I didn't realize that my internet wasn't on, we couldn't get some of what I wanted to tell you quickly. Let's go back to this before we go to Showore.
They will go back to their ethnic base and start preaching.
Let's start from the beginning. Sorry about that.
Nigeria is the elites and the political class. It has nothing to do with the citizens who are law abiding, who are struggling to keep life going. It is the elitist class, the political class, who have either lost in the government and trying to find their relevance back. They will go back to their ethnic base and start preaching ethnicity, that we are edged out because we belong to either Fulani or Yoruba or Igbo and so on and so forth. But when they are in government, they don't remember that they belong to this class of tribes or religion because they have formed a cartel. They are together on that page of exploiting the country. But the moment they lost out, they will go back and start whipping sentiment and emotion. And that is why the laws are weak. Because anybody who has served this country in the capacity either of a minister or a governor or what have you, and found using language that is not really in tandem with our national interest, should have a consequences to face. Otherwise, we'll continue going along this way, and our children, our grandchildren will continue to.
Wow, it seems that there's another caller coming through. Let's go straight to the caller quickly. Once again, this is the conversation on the Yoruba Nation. Thank you so much, Dr. Mrs. Mute the background, please. The caller you are in already. Dr. Mrs. Akiriola says, I like the last caller is Bishop Adesina. He's been with us on the movement of Yoruba Nation in 3 years. I met him at Soka when he came from Lagos to meet me at Chief Dr. Sonny Igboho's house. During the Easter period. We had some videos together, and it's been on this journey. It could get very, very hot. Go ahead, caller. You are Olayolmi, the Star Radio UK, the conversation on indigenous people. And let's brief quickly because of the time.
Good evening, Mr. Koiki.
Ekalesa, you're welcome.
Yeah, good evening, Mr. Koiki. I just want to chip in my own idea about the Tinubu'S post certificate.
All right, go ahead.
Although you are out of that.
No, we're still in it. We can never be out of
what
it.
I only think is that my question is that Kennedy Oshun,
yes,
the former minister of
I talked about it this evening. I talked about it.
She forged only NYSC certificate, which is Nigerian issue. But this one is international issue. Tinubu should. I said Nigerians by now that in the next 24 hours, it should not be in that state again. Because what legacy is it going to give our Nigerian children? What legacy is it going to give them? That's the question. Thank you.
Wow, what legacy? That was a very good one. Under a minute, you can still call in. The line is still open. It is the same number to the studio number. Let us make it very, very snappy. Hello, caller. Good evening. You're welcome. That's Olayolmi Live.
Yes, Bobby.
I'm going, sir.
Lórí ọ̀rọ̀ Tinubu, kí làwọn èèyàn gangan fẹ́ kí wọ́n ṣe gan-an? Ṣé kí wọ́n lè gba pẹ̀sidẹ́ǹtì lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀ ní àbíkí?
Ẹ̀yin máa sọ tọ̀dọ̀ tí yín ni ẹ lè béèrè pé kí làwọn èèyàn fẹ́.
Because product nǹkan tí Nàìjíríà gbé la máa kà náà.
Okay, so you're almost the same thing with what Sister Bookie is saying. Is the product of Nigeria that has brought Tinubu, but Bishop Adesina seems to disagree on that line.
Èmi kí bá wá jẹ́ Yorùbá, ẹ̀yin ẹ mọ̀ mí, despite the fact pé Yorùbá nation ni mo wà pẹ̀lú. Mi ìdè wá ní kí wọ́n fọ́ àgbọn. Wọ́n fẹ́ correct mistake tó ṣẹlẹ̀ yìí. Orí ọmọ tiwa náà ti máa wá fi bẹ̀rẹ̀. Kó bá jẹ́ pé orí ọmọ tiwa náà fi máa bẹ̀rẹ̀ náà máa pín ìlú yẹn, mo gbà. Ó yẹ yín. Ọkọ̀ bá ti ń ṣe orí Tinubu, wọ́n kàn máa punish ẹ̀, wọ́n á jẹ ọkọ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ Nàìjíríà wá wà pẹ̀lú Nàìjíríà pọ̀ ní ìgbà yẹn.
Okay.
Okay. Because tó bá jẹ́ pé yẹn náà fẹ́ ṣe nínú gbogbo àwọn general wà ní Nàìjíríà gbogbo àwọn especially the general tí wọ́n ti ṣe gbogbo past president èwo ni ò ṣe fraud èwo ni ò ní fraud nínú gbogbo document wọn. Èwo ni tó ṣẹ́ni product Nàìjíríà nìyẹn nínú gbogbo àwa tá à ń sọ̀rọ̀ ìgbọ̀n èwo ni kò sí kọ́lọ́fín nínú gbogbo document ayé wa. Èwo nínú gbogbo wa tá à ń sọ̀rọ̀ one on one. Ọlápẹ́ Tinubu dẹ̀bi last position biggest position ní gbogbo ẹ̀sìn jáde. Ẹ rántí pé òun ni Gani Powell ó bá tó nígbà tó wà gọ́vnà nípa ọ̀rọ̀ Toronto certificate láti Toronto. Ẹ rántí pé Gani tó kú. So product Nàìjíríà ni nǹkan tá a gbé ní ọ̀dẹ́rẹ́sọ̀ nìkan. But èmi ní pé a lè fọ́ àgbọn yẹn lórí ọmọ wa àṣùwà ní Nàìjíríà. Ká bá fẹ́ fọ ká kúkú fọ́n pókè o àpọ́nìṣẹ́ ẹ̀nà pín ìyẹ́. Bọ̀ láìṣe yẹn o kó náà máa ṣe lọ ni o kó kọ́ wa pín fún wa ni. Ó wá pín fún wa. Bọ̀ láìṣe yẹn èmi ò because bí Nàìjíríà ṣe wà ń sìn èèyàn ò lè ní kéèyàn sọ pé èèyàn jà fún kankan. Yes, Yorùbá nation ni mí tọkàntọkàn gbogbo ọkàn ní gbogbo ẹ̀mí ni. But ní stage tá a wá pẹ̀lú nǹkan tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ yìí a máa tí àwa Yorùbá ti lu àwọn ọmọ wa scapegoat láti ẹ̀yìn bọ̀ kí ni èrè tá a jẹ lórí Nàìjíríà náà kò sí bí àpá àlejò wọn mọ́. Ìgbà tí Buhari ṣẹlẹ̀ certificate ẹ̀ kí ló ṣẹlẹ̀? Ṣé wọ́n yọ? Wọ́n yọ. Èmi o Yorùbá nation bó bá jẹ́ pé tí wọ́n bá máa yọ a máa gba Yorùbá nation. Yes. Ẹ̀yọ́. Mọ̀ pé wọ́n bá ní máa yọ pé wọ́n máa wá gbé fóònù ọ̀ Àtíkù èmi ò gbà.
All right. You call them make decision. The decision will be from the court. Thank you so much. The last caller again. Many people have different views on that. Reno says, why can't Oduduwa groups hold Bola Tinubu to round table to restructure the federal government of Nigeria? Well, the question is, would he accept, that invitation so that we can come and sit down with him? Remember that these and so many documents. This was the 2014 National Conference report. Again, Dr. Mrs. Akinrada said Tinubu's case could be the God factor Yoruba nation is looking for. This is from another angle. So everybody has different angle to the conversation. Let me quickly come back to Nnamdi Kanu's case. Will be tomorrow. Let's talk about that since we are still on the self-determination, the indigenous people, and whatever pertaining to that area. Supreme Court fixed October 5th for the hearing of Nnamdi Kanu's case challenging illegal detention by the Nigerian government. According to what we know, tomorrow there are two separate appeal filed by the detained leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Again, there's a caller coming through, and I want to take those calls quickly because we're still about 27 minutes before the end of the program. I'm going to come back again to you, Sister Book, if you're still there. Let's bear with us with some of those calls coming through. Go ahead, caller. Good evening.
Yeah, I'm still
I'm going to come back to you in a minute.
Good evening. Yeah, I want to contribute to the last caller.
Yeah.
What the last caller says.
Go ahead.
So it's like we are making a lot of things here now. We need to get this one clear. The man in Aso Rock now, who sent him to Aso Rock? Is it the Yoruba people? He said to Aso Rock. Okay. Number two, what benefit that this man you are talking about here? What benefit has the man done for entire Yoruba race? That's number two. Number three, when the Fulani are dealing with our people in our villages, No, killing our people, chasing them away from the farm during the Buhari regime when they were torturing our people.
Okay.
Do we know that when Dr. Ali was saying up and down that the Fulani that is killing our people that are from Guinea Conakry, do we know that this same man, that last caller is supported as a man one I don't care. I mean, Obama, I don't support him. That this man one, do you know that he have a nationality in Guinea Conakry? So we need to be sincere to ourselves. If we want the future of Yoruba to go, let's come play. Nobody sent this man to Aso Rock, but he forced entire Yoruba race to this rubbish since when he brought Buhari in. And we have been suffering. Yoruba have been suffering for the past 9 years because of him. Because of group of Yoruba people. We need to think about the legacy of Awolowo. What we never know, we never see anything, because this man, when one of his conference among his people, he was telling our youth, Yoruba youth, that grab it, snatch it, and run away with it.
I remember.
Can you give me the define of that?
I remember the video.
The single definition of that. Grab it, snatch it, and run away with it.
That was in London.
To our youth. Today now we now have different type of youth. Different kind of more, rich in Yoruba land. Yoruba land is not safe anymore. Everywhere is upside down. The legacy of our Awolowo that make sure that every Yoruba children have good education. Everything is down the way. The legacy of Ajasin and so many other prominent Yoruba like that. But today, some Yoruba is coming out and telling us that a man who forged his certificate to attack Yoruba political structure is the man that they want to die for. Are we insane? So you want to tell me that the 60 million population of Yoruba, we don't have people that is credible to lead us. We have people that are maintaining our political structure before now. We have that because he pushed all their family away. He sent them away. We don't have mouth. Look at where we are now. Our economy is dead. Yoruba entire economy is dead. Nothing, nobody. We don't have any mouthpiece. And then one person is coming out and say, "Oh, look, go to Yoruba land." I was in Nigeria recently. Go there and see how our people are suffering. It's unbelievable. What happened to us? They closed the border against us for many years. Nobody see anything. We're just there. And today somebody say, "Our local." Where this man come remove first subsidy without thinking that it's going to affect our own people. And people are suffering. Then somebody now comes say, somebody that forged his certificate to become president. So if you say, so if you go back to Yoruba nation, that same thing will start happening, isn't it? I don't get our people sometimes. It's like something just really wrong with us. I want to see some prominent Yoruba people that we're supposed to be looking them and listening to them when they were talking. But they are taking sides.
Okay.
Into this rubbish. Let's come to reality. Let's come to reality. The way Nigeria was structured, we have three major tribes in Nigeria.
Yeah, Igbo, Hausa,
Igbo, and Hausa.
Yeah.
Since 1999, sorry, I'm taking your time. Since
That's
1999,
okay.
when democracy was, that's 24 years ago, one particular tribe never become president or vice president. We need to be sincere. That if they do that to us, how would you feel? That we push aside in the country that we also belong to. We don't need to be selfish. We don't do fit it because they are white people. No. Life is not like that. We live in another country as well. They take all our children become ministers this and in another country. So we have a country that two regions supposed to be running the country. Is it time to let other regions enjoy what we enjoy in 1999? That they give Yoruba unopposed. Unopposed. Nobody followed, no type of contesting against Yoruba in 1999 because what we put in during the military era. Other tribes still need to enjoy the same thing. We just have to be honest. If we Yoruba want a very sane Yoruba nation, we need to start now. We don't need to support rubbish because it's our picking. You go ahead to go and degrade that, which we are ashamed that the only person you can present is somebody that kind of caliber. We just need to be straight. Me as a person in Yoruba, I don't support him. I don't believe in Europe, in Nigeria, but I believe in Yoruba nation. But it is now we are seeing Nigeria, but we need to be very, very honest with ourselves. We need to be very honest with ourselves. We don't know about just done 8 years in Yoruba, send Yoruba. Osman just done vice president 8 years, then send Yoruba. We want to see the go again. Are we so greedy? We don't think at all.
Wow.
We need to be honest to ourselves. We just need to use our brain.
All right.
God does see, let me tell you one thing. God does not happy with us, with what we are doing. Someone like I tell Buhari did everything. No, we don't want to come this entire 60 million population. Don't come to our hair and talk garbage. That's garbage. Don't talk that.
All right.
Let equality, let it happen around. Let everybody have their fair share in that very contraction. Everybody now knows that it's time to go. I believe in everybody goes their own, but we are still in Nigeria. Let's be fair share.
Let's be fair share.
Bye.
Thank you so much. Well, that is a very powerful one there, and I've said it. If Tinubu finishes government, and again, thank you so much, my brother Omogbola Oba said the CGN said this evening statement that all the judges should not listening to the public opinion, rather concentrate on the matter before them. After all, former President Muhammadu Buhari presented a NEPA bill as certificate, but still continue as the president of Nigeria. Silver Badmo says, I beg they should remove Tinubu so that we can take our nation back. Mr. Okafo says, I will never be a bigot because of some intelligent and honest Yorubas I have listened to. Thank you so much. Keep the comment coming. Much love, you said, from Abisko, and also you say Koiki Oba. Well, I'm not yet a Kingo. Oni of Ife says, and I quote, that we should be very patient with President Bola Tinubu. I am not the one saying that. This is what the Oni of Ife, the Ojaja II, said in the communique yesterday. Baba Oba Nipe Obale Yoruba, Oni Kashe Suru, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Keep the call coming in. The number is still the same, +44 74044059117. Let's take a few more calls before we go into the last segment of the program. Hello, caller. Good evening and welcome to Niger Voices. Ekalema.
Good evening, Mr. Koiki. How are you doing?
I'm very good. You're welcome to the program, ma. Let's hear your take on this conversation.
Thank you so much. Yes. I would like to add that we Yorubas, we need to be very, very cautious. We cannot use any sentiment to join those people that are trying to pull things down. It's not an easy journey for Yoruba to get to this point.
Okay.
I want us to just calm down.
Okay.
Because in Northerners, they are so united and all protecting themselves. Why are we the ones that always come up to expose ourselves, to push, to elevate when one of us is falling? It's not an easy thing for somebody to become a president. And for him being here as a Yoruba man, you see how long it took us to get there. So if he is removed today, so Shatima is the one that is going to be the president. Then he's already going to the Netherlands. We should reach to Atiku's strategy. It's all about the Northerners and some few Igbos because of the settlement about Obi's thing. Yoruba, let's be united. This is our chance, and if we blow it, only God knows what will happen to us. So that is what I want to add to this matter. This is a very, very sensitive thing. We cannot use the past to destroy our future. Because if we use the past to destroy our future, we Yoruba are going to suffer the consequence. Tinubu is a rich man. He will live here and enjoy his life to the last point. Nobody can say he's not a president. He is already achieved his local. He already did that there. He already a president. They will always fight in the issue. All
right. Let me ask this 201 question before you go. What is your expectation of the outcome? I'm talking about in the long time. By the time this government of Bola Tinubu complete his tenure, Buhari submitted nothing less than a fake or probably NEPA certificate or whatever. But what is going to be your own as an individual now, from what you're saying, by the time Bola Tinubu is going to be finishing his government, what are we likely to gain as Yoruba people?
We have a lot to gain, my brother.
Okay.
If we support him now, we have more to gain. In this one, he will have ears. It's our own. We have our blood flowing through him.
Okay.
Remember, Tinubu is not just ordinary man. He's former Nadeko person.
Yes, I'm aware of that.
He knows that Yoruba people are suffering. He knows for him to get to that position, he has to do everything he said.
Okay. So if I'm hearing you right, so Tinubu, even whatever it takes, even if the country is not divided, it might restructure the country to a way that will favor the whole groups.
Exactly.
Okay.
He will listen for us. This is our chance.
Okay, so that means we have to wait and continue to monitor whatever the situation is. But with this certificate saga, it is just as nothing as a planned cooked work. Even maybe it was Shetima that told him to submit that. Well, maybe it could even be Shetima that provided it. Okay. Interesting.
Yes. These people are trying to
hold on.
destroy. They are very, very sad that this power was gained by the Yoruba people.
Okay, hold on there, sister. Hold on, caller. Let's go straight. Sister Buki, coming quickly. Let's hear from you because we have two more callers that have joined us on the street. Yeah.
Are you not noticing that when we were doing those campaigns in front of the Parliament House, are you not noticing that they were not coming out? They were only giving us guidance to make sure that there was no violence, which obviously we Yorubas we're not that way inclined anyway. We were having our peaceful rallies. Those rallies were becoming very, very effective. In order to keep the Yoruba people quiet, he has been placed there.
But Sister Buki, could it not be that could it not be that Tinubu was doing that so that he will be able to get what he wanted, so he cannot come out and defend because there's killing in the full.
Let's go back and do the research. The system has already been set up to suppress the black man, so that he will not gain anything from those resources. Tinubu has been all of us. We are all victims. He is just a pawn in that world's economic systems. The whole economy is actually being controlled by
Let me ask Sister Buki a question.
All right. Hold on. Let Sister Buki learn in another 30 seconds.
You are not looking at the bigger picture here. This is passing on for himself. He is just a pawn in that game.
So if let me just come in there. If I can hear you very well, Sister Buki, what you're saying in the layman is Tinubu will not be able to do what we expect him to do as you people.
He's not going. This is what I'm trying to do. Even if they remove Tinubu there, they're going to put another pawn in that way. So
But some people don't want them to remove Tinubu. That's the question. Removing Tinubu is another question. Yeah.
What is the difference between one seat to another? And it's happening in all African countries. That is why the system is not working. So whether it comes up or not, it's not gonna make any difference.
All right, let's come back to you, Sister Buki. Hold on there, because hold on, Sister Buki. Enaro says they used Tinubu to shut Yoruba people. Go ahead, our caller, because I can see there's still more calling that wants to call through. Go ahead, caller.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much. So I wanted to ask Sister Buki if it's remote today and Shetima is installed as the new president. So what is our gain? So that's my question to her. What is the gain for Yoruba?
Sis, look, there's no gain in us remaining in Nigeria, period. There's no gain in Tinubu even being there. He's not going to do anything.
We just need to calm down because it's going to be work. for the Timber to be enforced in the replacement of Tinubu.
This, I am being logical. I've done my research on this. And you need to go and do further research. Just don't look up Tinubu.
All right. Should we say that it is too early to call the shot on Tinubu himself, because Tinubu is still very early when it comes to these governments? So we don't. I mean, we might.
He can't do anything.
Okay. All right. Okay. Let. All right.
We can't judge what he's going to do or not.
All right. Hold on there, mute, Mr. Stipuki. All right. Okay. I think it seems that some part of us want him to be there and then fulfill probably the national conference of 2014, take us back to the regional government, allow the self-determination referendum clause with the 1999 constitution.
We should put more effort, Mr. Buki.
So that means we need to increase the tempo of the Yoruba Nation campaign.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So I think we're still in the same line, but it seems that the way we're
our agenda further. Instead of trying to destroy him, let's push our agenda further.
All right. Thank you so much, Kola. I think we got that. So okay. Thank you so much. That was a very good contribution, and it's always good to have a very different perspective. There's still more Kola wants to come in. I think I have another one on the Twitter space. Let me bring in Sister Wura quickly, because I have 10 minutes to manage and we cannot go beyond that 10 minutes. So go ahead, Sister Wura, let me hear from you.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Koiki. Good day, everyone. I hope you are hearing me.
Loud and clear.
We want self-determination.
Okay.
And I'm not going to trade that for Tinubu. Tinubu forced himself to be a Nigerian president.
Okay.
Yes. And Tinubu have used this Yoruba agitator, to be in that position.
Okay.
Yes. Because last year, when people were agitating, the tempo was very high last year. Okay. And now, Tinubu Chicago bringing his result out.
Yeah.
As maybe as they said, it was forging results or whatever.
Yeah.
It is even a shame on Tinubu'S that are even coming out and be saying, if they are going to remove it, Tinubu'S head, I have followed it, Tinubu, then we should disintegrate it, we should dissolve the country. If they are not going to do that, it is not a good idea. Yes, because they are about to shortly.
But should we, for argument's sake, I'm sure it's not just Tinubu alone that has the baggage of this fake result, when we come to Nigerian politics. Okay.
Who use that?
Okay.
If Yoruba people, maybe they were saying bad thing about Tinubu, then we don't have to say that. We have to. No. We won't do that. Let's face whatever is going to come out of that. Somebody that monopolizes the old Lagos state. Tinubu that is doing what is doing for a little boy, or what are they calling it? Nobody else can do it. And you expect that person to even make Nigeria average of what we are thinking. It can't.
Okay, what about this individual Omogbolawan Oba says removing President Bola Tinubu will be speeding the movement to actualize the Yoruba nation, but to remove Tinubu and put Atiku or Obi is a no.
If they lie, they should remove Tinubu. They should put anybody they like. Even they will not even put it Obi. Yes.
Okay.
They are not going to give it to Obi.
Because Obi was number 3 anyway, not number 2.
Because the Nigerian subject, even the British, them know that Biafra is not going to take it. So they are not going to give it to Obi. They
Okay, let me put it this way again. I want to bring the last person in, and I still have two callers that are still hanging there. I'm going to bring Ada in a minute. The other question I want to ask you, Sister Wura, is again, if you're joining us for the very, very first time, this is the Star Radio UK Niger Voices every Wednesday. My name is Olayolmi Koiki. The question is, could this all be again a planned work by the international community to destroy Tinubu, knowing fully well that using him as a stool to get there and then pulling him down? Because if the FBI release all the files, I mean, whether that is going to remove him in power, nobody knows yet. But from the information the CGN have been told, forget about what the public are saying. Stick to the conversation. The Supreme Court will make a decision. We don't know what is going to be the outcome. Whether there will be a rerun, we thought there will be a rerun with the Election Petition Tribunal. But could it be that this whole scenario being played out on Bola Tinubu was just something he wanted? Or was it something that is also being planned? Because we know that the world we are living today, a lot of things are planned 30, 20 years ahead. And Tinubu was just one of those puzzles.
Well, I think what I see that in the beginning, they are not ready to use the power for him. Yes. But because we will back, we are clamoring for our nation.
Okay.
So that is why we just
let us put him in there. All right. Thank you so much. Sister, let's come through with Ada. Go ahead. Let's hear from you with your contribution, and then we take the last two caller. It's been a very fantastic night. Don't go yet. It's still Star Radio UK, the finest African and Caribbean radio station. Every Wednesday, this is how the discussion goes. Tomorrow, we'll be waiting for more updates on the outcome from the Supreme Court, where Nnamdi Kanu case will be going ahead. Go ahead, Ada, on the...
Thank you, Koiki. Good evening, everyone. I joined this very late. What is the theme? What's the subject, please?
Well, we're discussing the whole issue on the social media, the saga of the Tinubu's result, and also at this particular junction, we are discussing the self-determination and the dissolution of Nigeria. So it seems that you're now with us.
So yes, Yoruba nation, Yoruba people, one, we're not a tribe. We are a ethnic group, because we are more than 20 million. Yeah, across about 3 to 4 countries and in the diaspora. I'm for Yoruba nation, but obviously, Nigeria, since Nigeria was born, Nigeria is now 63, I think.
Yeah.
We've had lots of sagas from 1960, Civil War, coups and coups and coups and coups and coups and coups, up to where we are now. And unfortunately, in Nigeria, I think with Nigeria, there are a lot of cabals. They're all thinking about everywhere in Nigeria. Not in Nigeria, in the army. And to a certain extent, there's an international conspiracy, obviously.
So the whole country is a cartel.
The way it is. So it's really not reasonable. So, for example, quickly, I don't want to refer to fella, but in an heterogeneous society like Nigeria, where we have more than 200 tribes, how can you get democracy? When is it going to be the turn of the Ogoni man or the Kabari?
Well, we're even talking about the turn of the Southeast, because I'm not sure Igbos will ever be the president.
The reason why this anti-Tinubu and Yoruba is going on from the Southeast now, that saga came out from the PDP. Yeah.
Okay.
See, a British journalist made a comment when Obasanjo took power. He said there was an unwritten rule between North and South Nigeria that they will rotate and pass on the baton. So many Nigerians took notice of that, because the country is just in corruption. It's always about, I want to get to that position of power. We don't know why they want to get there.
All right. Okay.
So quickly, like I said, we're not 200 people. We don't have to live together. How can you have democracy if there are 50 million Yorubas?
It is never going to be possible. All right. Thank you so much. I know we're really pressed of time. Just bear with us when we still on the Star Radio UK. We'll come back to you. Don't go anywhere. Those of you that are still with us, if you're joining me for the very first time, this is... Can you just mute there, please? Because we're still back in the studio. Bear with us, please.
On your smartphone.
Well, let's take the last, two callers before we start winding down a little bit. Those of you that are still with us, let us complete with the Star Radio UK. We might still go ahead for just another few minutes after that. For now, I would like to appreciate my producer, Mr. Frank David. Good evening, caller. Go ahead. I know we're pressed of time, but go ahead. Ẹ kálẹ́ sà. Ẹ ṣé gan ni sà.
Ṣẹ́rí ti Tinubu bàbá nígbà bàbá Àtìkù kọ́ tó wá mílíọ̀nù fún ọ̀lẹ́ Tinubu kúrò bẹ́ẹ̀. Nàìjíríà constitution kó tó tírílíọ̀nù kò lè yọ Tinubu kúrò bẹ́ẹ̀. Gbogbo àdúrà tí mo ń gbà láyé ni pé ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀ tó máa ṣẹlẹ̀ tí Yorùbá nation á fi wáyé òun ni mo ń gbàdúrà. Ìdùnnú mi ní kọ́ yíyọ Tinubu kúrò kí Yorùbá nation wáyé. Kò sí bàbá nígbà wọn yọ Tinubu kúrò. Wọ́n kàn pariwo náà ni. Ó máa
die down.
Ọ̀ bí adájọ́ ìdádúró kó fẹ́ yọ Tinubu kúrò. Wọ́n pariwo náà ni ó máa die down. Lẹ́yìn Yorùbá ní káwọ́ọ̀dù. Yorùbá àwọn ní káwọ́ọ̀dù. Wọ́n kàn máa ń lẹ́nu wọn ní ọ̀kan tó fẹ́. Wọ́n fẹ́ gba Yorùbá nation. A ní láti gbé Yorùbá nation yẹn ká kókó sẹ́ẹ̀kì Tinubu sílẹ̀ kádàrá ti tiẹ̀ ló ń bá lọ rí. Àwọn àgbàlagbà àwọn ní ọlọ́kọ̀ fẹ́ gba Yorùbá nation fún wa. Àwa ọ̀dọ́ àwọn kọ̀ọ̀kan ní kọ́kọ́rọ́ wọ́n fẹ́ ṣí inú ilé Yorùbá nation káwọ́ ọ̀dọ́ káwọ́ ọbẹ̀. Ìdí ẹ̀ máa ṣe máa gba Yorùbá nation. Àbúyá 1 year 2 year 3 year ẹ ti Tinubu sílẹ̀. Ọ̀ lè yọ Tinubu. Bàbá bàbá Hausa kan ò lè yọ. Tó bá yọ Tinubu lè ní Nàìjíríà abẹ́kìlẹ̀ ní àtúntọ́là wọn ilé ìjọ. Agreement wọn ní Amẹ́ríkà ló fi resort ní dáadé. Pé kó má bàa kókun lọ sí Nàìjíríà ní Hausa lọ má kókun lọ sí ókè wọ́n máa mú resort jáde. Báwo ló jẹ́ kó mú resort jáde àlè yẹ kúrò? Agreement wọn nìyẹn. Orí tó bá kókun lọ ní ní Amẹ́ríkà ò sì gbé resort yẹn sílẹ̀. Náà sí agreement. Ẹ jẹ́ ká pèsè ẹ̀ lẹ́yìn báwọn ẹ̀kọ́ ṣe tí wọ́n yẹ inú mi ẹ jẹ́ ká pèsè ẹ̀ sílẹ̀ ìgbà tó bá wọn tó ti wá yá káwa náà bẹ̀rẹ̀ ẹ̀ sílẹ̀ ó ṣe bá kádàrà kó lè gbá Yorùbá nation wá ní táyà ti parẹ́ lẹ́sìn ìwà wà lọ́wọ́ àwa ọ̀dọ́ àwa náà la lè gbà fúnra ẹ̀yìn ọgbọ́n ní ní tèmi náà lè yọ Tinubu kúrò wọn á pariwo náà ní kò ní nǹkan tó máa ṣe.
Ẹ ṣé gan ni sir. Well, that is another perspective there, AY, I won't take your call now because I need to start winding down on the Star Radio UK, but you can still stay behind, for those of you that still want to have another few minutes. Well, it has been a very beautiful evening again on the Star Radio UK network. Omogbala Obase, we run the general election, we put the country into a ground zero economically, means a new candidate will have to emerge, likely like Osibajo or Dr. Kimumi Adesina from the Southwest, a new budget for the INEC. However, with the look of things, holistically, Tinubu will still remain and maintain the position as the president of Nigeria. The question then is, would he be able to sustain and allow a peaceful dissolution of Nigeria? Will he restructure Nigeria back to where you want it to be? Many Nigerians will still talk about these results for a very long time. The question on the Star Radio UK tonight, please mute yourself, do not come in, if not we'll have to remove you because we're still in the studio. Please bear with us for those of you in the space there. Thank you so much. Once again, Tinubu certificate scandal, should he resign? Many of you agree that Tinubu will never resign regardless of whatever it takes. Some of you also say that whatever it takes, Tinubu will still remain the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The question then is, in the next 3 years of this government, nobody guaranteed the next 8 years, but he has the first year or the first 4 years. Would he do whatever that will favor the ethnic indigenous people in Nigeria so that many people that are asking for the right to self-determination would have its way? Would Tinubu allow the Supreme Court to decide the fate of Nnamdi Kanu and let him go? He's been in the DSS custody almost 3 years now. Igboho is still currently being held in Benin Republic because why? It was the previous administration, but whatever the previous administration is doing has been handed over to the new administration. So, to confirm that, that means that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, as of today, knows that Igboho being held in Benin Republic has got to do with his government. The question is, would he allow the embargo to be lifted on Igboho from the DSS attack on his home on the 1st of July 2021, or would he just look away and just continue his government? A lot of questions, there's so little answer. That is how far I can go tonight. I'll be back next week on the Star Radio UK network. Thank you so much for every single one of you that have joined me on this platform. I would like to appreciate my producer, Mr. Frank David, and Mr. Archie Amon. Join me again at 11 o'clock tomorrow on the Star Radio UK morning show. But for now, let's wait and see what is going to be the outcome of the Supreme Court. And on that note, I say good evening and thank you so much to every one of you that have joined. I will be back next week. Remember, don't touch the dial on the Star Radio UK. My name is Olayolmi Koiki, and we will continue to monitor all the situation coming out of Nigeria. Fashola says, and I quote, "Please do not use the word, may Nigeria not happen to you." Well, Minister or former Minister Fashola, the former governor of Lagos State, I'm asking to you yourself, may Nigeria not happen to you? That I will leave it on that note. Thank you so much. Have a very good evening and bye for now.